Get ready. Helena Hustle is now live. Here, we will showcase successful leaders in business, athletics, healthcare, and all things that make Helena a great place to live. Join Dr. Daniel Bridge, owner of Endurance Chiropractic, as he searches out amazing individuals who are making a tremendous difference in this place we call home. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired with the Helena Hustle podcast.
And will you say something just so I can see if it's getting picked up?
Yes.
Perfect.
I think pistachios are weird.
Do you really?
There's something about the green color. Like, I love the taste of them, but there's something about the green color of pistachios that, like, unsettling is not the right word, but there's something about it where it's like, you're not right.
It is a very colorful nut, isn't it? So, hey, thank you for coming. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, I'm Sean Conroe. I am the purveyor of the Daring Moves Chess Club here at Helena, kind of a revival of the old chess club that we used to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess Sean and I are just now first meeting, and so I tried to minimize my questions because I was just really looking forward to our conversation. So this chess club, was it going by the same name?
No, previously we didn't really have a name for it. It was just the chess club at the library. It was being run as a part of my former position at Ability Montana.
Oh, okay.
We were kind of just using it as an outreach event,
Yeah.
and it was just a fun thing to do for the community. But I changed roles and I handed it off to a coworker who, just kind of fell by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
And then for a year it was, more or less defunct, and now we're just going to start it back up again independently.
And the first meeting has not yet happened, correct?
No, it'll be August 7th from 6 to 7 at the Lewis and Clark Public Library.
Okay, August 7th, 6th to 7th, and that's a Wednesday?
It is, the first
Right
Wednesday
on.
of the month.
Cool. Okay, I can't wait to dive into it. But let's start off with your two truths and a lie.
Oh, you're going to love these. So, I was taught chess by an international grandmaster. I've been in a fight with the son of a dictator, and I've walked through Roman aqueducts.
You're correct. I am loving these. Oh boy. I'm going to say the grandmaster is the lie.
It is. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I actually learned how to play chess at the local public library when my father and I were living in California. And he taught me what he knew, and that was kind of the end of it. There was no real formal instruction or anything like that.
Was he big into chess?
I think he liked the mental workout from chess, but he was not, he didn't study form. He didn't really go very deep in it. I think he kind of got trounced by my grandmother a couple too many times, and she had taught him just to have somebody to play.
Sure.
And he just wanted me to learn, but after that, I was kind of up to my own to learn the rest of it.
How old were you?
I was in kindergarten.
And okay. And did you? Was it something that you were immediately interested in?
I think I enjoyed it, and this is going to kind of sound like a bit of an egotistical sort of thing, but I think I enjoyed it because it was something other kids weren't doing at the time. And then after that, it blossomed. As I got into the complexity of it, it blossomed into a lot more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you take it pretty seriously, or did you have chunks of your life where you did?
Oh no, I can't say I've taken it particularly seriously. More so recently. But it was kind of an on and off thing. I never studied a lot of like the forms, openings, and defenses when I was growing up, but I did play on my chess team in high school.
Oh, cool. Which was where?
In Aurora, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, grew up in a military family, so it was kind of all over the place.
I see. Yeah, very cool. So let's hear about this dictator fight.
So for 7th and part of 8th grade, so like 2000 to 2001, I was living in Yemen. My father was a defense attaché for the embassy, and the president of Yemen, Ali Abdullah Saleh, who I believe has since been assassinated, was the dictator of Yemen, and his sons, or some of them, went to the same international school that I did.
Okay.
We didn't get along, and they accosted me in the shower room after PE one day and got into a bit of a tussle, and eventually their bodyguards figured out what was going on and pulled us apart.
Okay.
But it was a whole thing. Apparently, the president of Yemen kind of thought it was a funny boys will be boys sort of thing.
Sure.
So nothing ever came of it. There wasn't
you didn't get killed?
there wasn't a diplomatic incident or anything like that. I wasn't held at gunpoint at the presidential palace or anything.
That's wild.
But, yeah.
How was living in Yemen?
It was not a great time. I mean, we were there, 2000 to 2001. We were there for the USS Cole incident and 9/11, and on both cases, people were dancing in the streets.
Oh,
so
dang.
it was not a happy place. We got to experience a culture in a way that Americans may never again. I got to experience parts of Yemen that literally don't exist anymore because of the civil war there. But we got chased by Al-Qaeda. We had people, I got shot at track practice at school. It was a wild time and not necessarily a good one.
Wow, that is wild. Okay, and the Roman aqueducts.
Yeah, so before I lived in Yemen, from 96 to 97, I was living in Tunisia with my father, who was the defense attaché there. And some of the most intact Roman ruins in the world are there in Tunisia after the Carthaginians were defeated in the Second Punic War. And you could just experience the ruins. You could, they wanted you to be respectful, and sometimes they were roped off, but you could just walk through these old ruins. And there were some, a Roman aqueduct out in Hammamet that you could just kind of climb it. It was very low to the ground. It wasn't super high up, but you could just kind of get into them and just see what it was like on the inside. Yeah.
Are you a bit of a history buff too?
A little bit.
Sounds like
kind of comes with the territory.
Okay. We were in Turkey once, and we went to go see some ruins, but there's so many of them. Like you say, some you pay to get in, some are roped off, and some are just kind of on the outskirts of towns, and you can pick up a colorful tile that's thousands of years old. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So. One of the friends of my family, when we were living in Tunisia, had ruins in his backyard where he was living, and they were doing an excavation, and you could see the pre-Carthaginian mosaics with the Carthaginian mosaics on top of them, with the Roman ones on top of that, and then more Byzantine area ones above those. Just four levels of history.
Dang.
Literally a literal cross section of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I bet you've got lots of stories from your travels.
One or two.
That's great. So what brought you to Helena then?
So I came to Helena to finish my bachelor's degree using the Yellow Ribbon program at Carroll College.
Okay. What's that?
The Yellow Ribbon program was signed under President Obama as a way to make up the difference between what the post 9/11 GI Bill will pay for college and what the actual cost of college is.
Okay.
And so it was essentially a deal that these colleges would provide the rest of the tuition based on what the GI Bill can't pay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you came to Carroll and
Just decided to stay.
yeah.
My family, so I was in the military, my father was in the military, and his parents were in the military as well. But my father's mother, my grandmother, her family's all from Lewistown and Billings area.
Okay.
So we would come back to Montana on summer vacations. And so we were always related to Montana, but just never spent a lot of time here. So I've got cousins in Lewistown still.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So what branch did you serve in?
I was in the Army.
Awesome.
I was a medic for the 3rd Infantry Division.
Okay. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, it was my honor.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So getting back to chess, what made you decide you wanted to revive the club after a year?
So I had heard from some of the librarians at the library that people had been asking about it, that they had and asking what had happened to the chess club. It got rolled into a game night and just kind of fell by the wayside. But people were asking kind of by name, like, "Hey, is Sean going to be doing this again?" And I guess I had heard enough of that I was like, "Oh, I guess I'll start it up again." It doesn't really fit into my new position at Ability Montana. And so I just decided to do it myself independently as kind of my gift to the community.
Wow, that's fantastic. And what's the goal of the club?
Just to create a culture and a place for people to play. I intend to maintain it for all ages, but as interest grows, the hope is to include, adult nights or kids nights, and just provide an outlet for that, a creative outlet for people in chess, but also to create a better culture for it in the area.
Is there going to be structure for that hour?
Generally speaking, when we were working with it previously, it was kind of open for people to pair off and play games against each other. it is my intention to provide a little bit of, put some classical games on the TV of matches that have been played or modern matches, have a puzzle. But for the most part, I don't intend to introduce a lot of structure unless people want it. If they do want a little bit more formal instruction for their kids, if they want their kids to learn out, or anybody for that matter wants to learn the algebraic notation on the score sheets or things like that, then we'll introduce more. But as it stands right now, it's just kind of a place for people to get together and play.
Mostly games.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, chess is so fascinating, and it's, you've got the Queen's Gambit TV show and some different things that have brought it more to the forefront of people. Hikaru, watching him play on Twitch, his quick matches, and then Magnus Carlsen has brought a lot of attention to it. I think it's a really good time, and everybody could benefit from learning chess.
Over the past 3 years, it's really exploded. But you're right about that, about the benefits of it. It's a fun thing, and as a cultural event, it certainly has its fun. Just experiencing the characters of high level chess, but it really does have a lot of benefits as far as challenging the mind, providing structure. Can be a real social thing for people. I believe that there are few things when it comes to activities done indoors. There are few things that are better for the development of a young mind. And it's also highly accessible. People think that you have to be super quick on your feet. You've got to have lightning fast reflexes, and you've got to have this mind that's just given to chess. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that especially children, as long as they can stay focused on the game, I think anybody, temperament aside or anything like that, can really get benefits from it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like it can be overwhelming or intimidating, maybe is a better word, because a lot of people don't want to look dumb, and they don't want to come in and just look dumb. So if somebody maybe was kind of on the fence of, gosh, I'd love to learn chess, or I'd like to play more chess, what would you tell them?
I think that the first thing is find a club if you want to learn. That's some of the best places to do so. And I think that really it comes down to the idea that some of the best ways to learn chess is to have somebody teach it to you, obviously. But the best way to go about that is to go over the board, to literally sit in front of a chessboard and learn from somebody else. You can watch YouTube lessons online or use chess.com's app to take some of their instruction. But I don't think anything beats really playing across the board from somebody else and learning that way. And that's what the things like this chess club excel at. I can provide some instruction, but really anybody that'll be there, we found over time that people are always willing and happy to teach people chess.
Yeah,
it's a social, a very social event, and that it's almost a point of pride to teach somebody chess. And so you tend not to have a lot of closed doors in that manner when it comes to learning chess, whether you're a kid, an adult. I think you'll find way more compassion than judgment.
It is a humbling game, though. My cousin's my age, and his son is maybe 12, and he beats most adults that he plays with.
Yeah.
And that's what I've found is so interesting, is it's one of those things, like, you're never going to see a 12-year-old beat an average 25, 30-year-old in basketball. But in chess, it can happen all the time. Like, those young minds can be very competitive pretty quick.
Yeah, Faustino Oro right now is the big new sensation. Youngest ever person to become an international master, I believe. And he's 10.
Oh, geez.
And I think he just in Blitz chess on chess.com, he's been beating grandmasters with regularity. So
age 10.
Yeah, age 10.
That's wild. Yeah, I played a little bit as a kid, and I had I had my own set, but not much. And I got more interested in it probably about 10 years ago. We were living in St. Louis, and for whatever reason, I think chess.com was getting more popular, and I was playing on there. And then I found out St. Louis is the chess capital of the world, or the U.S.?
Of at least the U.S., yes.
At least, yeah. So I got to go to their museum, and I actually took a lesson, which was pretty fun. The guy who was teaching me was a lot better than me. And anyways, we're playing a game, and I made a move. Never play F7 or F6, something like that. And anyways, it's it is one of those things that I feel like if you do, I mean, getting better, taking a lesson, but I mean, even in your post, you had several books. I think it's one of those things that with puzzles or with certain books, you can actually get a lot better.
Oh, definitely. And even the grandmasters will tell you that to get to their level, you have to read the books.
Yeah.
You have to learn that theory, but it's a highly intimidating thing.
Mm-hmm.
There are beginners books, of course, that talk about the basics. Levy Rosman just recently put out a book that we actually will be able to give away too.
Oh, cool.
That has a lot of really great beginner and intermediate instruction. But people sometimes get really caught up in like, well, I have to know all these openings and defenses. And really, I mean, knowing what the London system is and knowing what the Sicilian defense is will be helpful. What's more important is to know what's going on in them. And that's what those books will teach you. So the names are great and all, but what they'll show you is that, well, this system, the reason why it's here is because you can really expand with these knights and bishops, or this really keeps you strong on the king's side. Those are the things you learn in those books, especially at the intermediate level. And so, that's why we have them. I've been collecting kind of the classics, but also some of the authors that I like. That way at our chess club, I can maintain kind of a borrow book table where, take a book, bring it back the next session or whatever. It's one of those ones where the library has some, but not a lot. And they don't really seem to be wanting to put together like a chess shelf or anything like that. So it'll be a way for people to access that part of the game where they wouldn't otherwise normally be able to. You can Google best chess books for X or Y, but it's different whenever you have a selection there and somebody can say, oh yeah, I really liked this, or I saw your game and I think you could really learn something from this King's Indian defense. And then you can point out a book directly to somebody.
Do you have any general books that you like to recommend to beginners or intermediate players?
Levy Rosman's How to Win at Chess is amazing.
Okay.
It is excellent. It breaks down everything from the very beginning in very simple but direct terms with lots of great pictures. Definitely a good one for beginners. If you like a more poetic writing and a bit of an older style, My System by the Grandmaster Nimzovich. The American translation was said to be kind of brutish, but there's been a recent retranslation that cuts out some of the BS in between. That's really quite excellent, and that might serve as the higher level, at least a more complex thought on the subject, even though it goes over a lot of basics. But those are probably the two best ones. And then you've got some of the classics like Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess and a number of other programs that are excellent. But my two suggestions would be Levy Rosman's How to Win at Chess if you want a very introductory form, and then My System by Nimzovich would be the second one for a more complex version. And then if we're talking about just broadly about different systems and openings and defenses, John Emms has a series called Everyman Chess that has a lot of those really great ones. He is an international master that has an excellent way of teaching chess, and his books are great.
Oh, he's got a series of...
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll make sure that I put those in the show notes so people can... I'll link it up to Amazon. So, it's crazy. Different shows that I've watched, you think of chess as... I guess some people could think of chess as it's just a game. You're sitting there, you're not moving, you're not expending a lot of energy, but your brain is just burning through glucose, and it's exhausting. When you're playing like a serious game or a series of games, back to Magnus Carlsen, I was watching a thing on him and just showing how much physical exercise and running and cardio he does so that he is in shape for a match where you're just sitting at a table. It's kind of crazy to think about how active your brain is when you're playing chess.
Yeah, Bobby Fischer was kind of the first, maybe not the first one to really lean into that, but he was the first one to do so publicly about keeping a strong body for a strong mind. He was constantly playing tennis and swimming were his two big physical activities to stay ready for chess. And so it definitely is. And I mean, Magnus Carlsen, if he thinks he's going to do a tournament somewhere where there's going to be inadequate nutrition, he'll bring a cook with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so it's definitely a whole thing. I think though that some of the easiest ways to show that the stress that people are under and the mental endurance that it takes is to watch Ding Liren, the last year's world champion, to watch how he struggles in his matches. Like, he was on the verge of a breakdown at the end of his last one.
Like a mental breakdown?
Yeah, but you could see that he was shaking, and
Really?
you could really see the stress. And all that stress is just, you're just burning through glucose in the brain when you're doing that. And if you didn't have those good complex carbohydrates beforehand to feed that, you're going to be in a brain fog playing one of the hardest matches of your life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's, these people dedicate their life to it. It's so competitive. And then you get the cheating scandals, right? It drives people to even cheat in some of these big matches, which is crazy. But yeah, when you want to win that bad. So awesome. Well, good. Okay, so with the chess club, should people bring their own boards?
No, we have 10 boards, 10 sets, 10 full sets available, and then I've got a couple of specialty sets, including a championship set that people can play on if they want that authentic feeling of playing on that nice board. And so, no, people just need to come and enjoy themselves.
You have clocks?
Yep, clocks are all ready.
Are there going to be like 10-minute games or whatever people want?
Whatever they want to play.
Okay.
It's only an hour, and so I think that if you want to get 2 good games in, probably 15 minutes is the best. Set aside 15 minutes per person. So it's technically rapid chess.
Yeah.
But people are free to play with or without clocks, however they want. But they're available. Cool.
Well, I look forward to it. I'm going to do my best to bring myself and my older 2 kids. Any last shout outs or anything you wanted to say about the club?
Not really. I think that the easiest way to stay up to date on our information with what we've got for giveaways and whatnot would be to follow us on Instagram at Daring Moves Chess. I can also be emailed at Sean@daringmoveschess.com. And I think that's about it.
Perfect. Can't wait, Sean. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. It'll be excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Helena Hustle podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Helena Hustle podcast.